What's up everyone, welcome back to the studio. Today I'm going to be showing you how I made this 3D embroidered hat using my brand new Marquee 2001 and just all the things that I learned so far after having this machine for a couple weeks. So if you're a beginner just like me, this is going to be a perfect video for you. Let's go. So first and foremost, I just wanted to say that I got this machine from Ricoma because I joined their affiliate partnership program. So shout out to Ricoma. It's been a really fucking crazy experience getting to this point in my business, but I am very grateful that they believe in me, that I can, represent their brand, and hopefully we can work together and do some good stuff together. So that's the first thing. And second thing is I've had this for 2 weeks now, officially 2.5, 3 weeks, but I didn't get the training until last week. So I don't have the most experience with it yet, but I've done some shirts, hats, like this hat right here that I'm wearing. This was done on the machine. And yeah, I've just been diving right into it. So with that out of the way, let's go straight to the hooping station, and then we're gonna get the hat loaded up, and I'll show you all the interface and all that good stuff so you can kind of see what this machine's all about. We have the cap hooping station right here. So I'm gonna put the camera down on a tripod, and then we're gonna hoop the hat. Before that, we need to get a hat. So here we have my favorite hat, 6506 from Yupong. We're gonna be using this one for this job. I'm gonna do a 3D puff of my Vision Old English, probably like 4.2 inches wide, maybe like that big, so it'll be the entire front. So we're gonna see how this turns out because I actually haven't ran this yet. For this, I'm gonna use a thin cutaway for the side. I like to put my logo over here, just like a little hit, and it's black. It's non-intrusive, but it's there. And you need to put cutaway behind this, and I use black cutaway so that when you rip it, there's no white showing. So yeah, this is gonna be the setup, and then we'll have a 3D on the front. But we're not gonna be doing this one, we're gonna be doing the Old English. But we don't need that much, so I'm just gonna cut a thin amount here and then put this to the side. Someone said a good trick is to keep all your packaging inside here so that if you need to refer back, you can look at it and know what the settings are or what the weight is. So yeah, this is a 1.5 ounce tearaway, so I need to double it up because it's a little thin. And I got this from Amazon. I bought the rest of my supplies from Madeira directly, but they didn't have or maybe they did, but I don't know. You gotta buy a lot more from Madeira. You gotta pay a little bit more for shipping, and then there's like a processing fee. But with Amazon, you know how it goes with Amazon, everything's kind of discounted for you. So yeah, I went with Amazon for this one. All right, so the hooping portion. So we're gonna fold this up since it's really thin. I'm gonna chuck it right here. And I couldn't for the life of me get the stabilizer and the hat sweatband in, so I loosened it up. So right now it kind of moves around, but when your hat hits it, it's solid, so it doesn't really matter. I fold it in half, put it here, and then grab the hat. The hat, we gotta take out this because you don't wanna embroider on this. Roll up the sweatband, but we're gonna go over the ends. There's like these little 2 poles, which I'll show a video in a minute. But for now, let's just get this part done so I can move on to that next section. But we bring it up, pulling on the sweatbands. And then I try to make sure that I see this present here because that's around the point that it's gonna hit on the embroidery machine. And then we're gonna tug this in under the metal clamp, keep the sweatband out on all sides. And then also I found that pulling back a little bit on the curve helps. Like having it curved creates more distance from what I've been seeing between the hat surface and the plate. And this is what causes needle breaks from what I've been seeing is when you have like this gap, the needles get all fucked up. So I try my best to just like massage this down and keep it as tight as possible. So I'm still pulling, gonna bring this band up. And you can see here that I'm trying my best to only clip on the very bottom. And then also what I found out is that your hat's gonna tilt a little bit to the right when you close it, which is okay because when the hat rotates for this extra embroidery, I kind of want the hat to actually go a little bit more to the right so that it's still in the embroidery zone. And we're gonna just clamp this down. Wow, it's really hard. So I'm gonna have to loosen it or just have to go for it. We'll try one more time. All right, that is really hard. But yes, now the hat is hooped and there's like very minimal space. So that's what I've been trying to do is like my very first hat, I got a lot of needle breaks. I actually broke 2 needles and I was using the 80-12, so that wasn't good. Like I knew something was wrong. So I think it was my hooping. And now that I've figured out my hooping, I've only had 1 needle break but I think that was because the needle's been kind of doing a lot of work, because I've only been embroidering these kind of hats. So I think it was, maybe it's time for it to go. And next, if you've ever seen those little binder clips, this is where it goes. So with the dad hats, I found that it helps to grab the top first, and then I pull that taut, and then I pinch down the top. For the snapbacks, I don't think it matters as much, but because we are embroidering this side right here, I'm gonna pull it from the side that is actually being embroidered. So I'm gonna pull it here from the bottom, and then we'll just clip that down. And then we'll pull it from the top as well. And then we'll hit the other side real quick. And this is what it looks like once it's ready to go. So we just have to unlatch it and then bring it over to the machine. Oh, before that, I forgot to mention this, but this is gonna be the puff. Now that I've done a couple hats, like, it does pretty decently well, but I'm not getting that really firm like vibe that I have from my other hats. So I'm not sure if this is the best brand. I've seen some videos from like Romero Threads where he talks about the other companies, so I might need to try them out, but I'm still a beginner, so I'm just going with the puffy foam from Soki. I know they're a brand that people like, so this will be the puff. And then for the side, because it's going on mesh, I'm gonna be using this water soluble stabilizer. So what this is, it's like this clear little sheet that you put over, but it helps the thread like come out of the surface. So typically, from my understanding, people use it for like towels and fleece and all those soft things, but it also helps on mesh. So we're gonna be putting this at the very end when I do the side, but until then, we don't have to worry about this. And this screen has been really, really cool because as someone who has no experience, it's like really nice to have a good UI UX, you know? And for something like this, where I've seen some interfaces of other machines where it's very like black and white and kind of like an old fax machine vibe, like look at this, this is like very clear. So for a noob like me, this is perfect. First thing you're gonna do is you're gonna get your design. So select design, and I've already loaded it from a USB to the machine. So we just go to machine. Then we're gonna do the 3D puff. So I got this digitized by someone else because I don't know how to digitize. And right now I'm just trying to learn how to get stuff done. I don't really care about digitization, but it is something that in the future I definitely want to do, so I don't have to like spend, you know, 16 to 20 something dollars every time I need something digitized. So we're gonna select it, and then you're gonna see the artwork pop up. Cool. And let's do a little tour here. So what's cool is that it tells you all this information, which I don't know if it shows this on other machines. It probably does, but you know, again, I'm new, so I don't really know. But basically it tells you the stitch count, the progress rate. I'm gonna keep my hand out of there. The size of the hoop, and then your color stops. And color stops is basically like when you have different color changes, or you have to like put an applique or something like that, the machine can stop so that you can do the next step while the machine is in pause mode, so that you can layer the next thing on. But this is super basic, just one color, 3D puff, so we just have one stop. Before I start anything, I always go select hoop, pick the cap hoop, yes, and then the machine kind of like recalibrates itself. Oh, here we go. Yeah, the machine like recenters itself, so now it's good to go. And you can see here that the artwork is now centered. Loading up the hat is super simple. You just put it sideways, push it all the way until you hit that black part, and then you turn it, and you'll kind of feel it lock in, and then you have to wait for your 3 clicks. So push, 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 push. All right, cool. So that's 3 clicks. And then next you want to trace. So the trace here is to just make sure that your embroidery file is within the safe area. So let's push trace, trace area, and then it's going to do this thing where needle 1 shows you the lines or the boundaries. And then, yeah, I have to put the phone back down on the tripod, but basically you push this needle down like this, and then you watch it go around. So let's try this one more time. So yeah, you do this to make sure that nothing hits, and that looks pretty good already. So I'm gonna probably just center it a little bit and just make sure that everything is good to run. And we're gonna put it to needle 20, because needle 20, I know there's so many needles, but so the way I have this set up is 1 and 2. 1 and 2 is 40 weight black, 40 weight white, because black and white is probably gonna be the stuff that I use the most. And then I have 19 and 20, also white for 3D puff. So the needle is 8012. Here's the titanium, and it's better for snapbacks, or so that is what I heard, and that's what I got. So it's been successful and everything's been good so far, besides when I miss hoop the hat and it gets all messed up. So besides that, this has been a lot better because during my training, I actually tried to do a snapback and the needle broke twice. So I think this is the solution for snapbacks. Oh yeah, another tip, if you have this button on the single, it moves the machine very slowly. So if I want to make like small changes, it goes like that. But if I push that, it like, see how much more it moves? So I figured that out on my own. But yeah, if you want to make fine changes, just click on that and then you're gonna be good to go. And the last thing, we're gonna get that foam on here. So I've seen people use rubber bands and stuff, but I'm just gonna use tape because I don't have any rubber bands here. And I try to get the edge as much as I can so it's out of the way because we don't want that to get sewn down. And then now, go to the machine here. I'm gonna change the, oh actually let's do this too. So select color, this tells you which needle to pick. So right now it's on 1, which is wrong because I want it on 20. I'm gonna go to 20, save. So now it's on needle 20, which is that black 8012 needle. So we're good to rock. And then I'm gonna lower this to like 650. Maybe, I don't know if it's 600, but I know that you don't wanna go too fast on 3D embroidery on hats because you're gonna break needles or break a thread or whatever. So I'm still trying to figure out the basics, but for my understanding, you don't wanna go too fast. And now we push start and the magic happens. So a couple things. I think one of the things that a lot of people worry about is like how loud it is. It is kind of loud, but in terms of like the sound of the embroidery machine, you can't really hear that in another room, or like if I'm outside in the hallways, I can't really hear it. But the machine does kind of vibrate. So if you're on the top floor, it might be a problem, but I think as long as you respect your neighbors and only do it during the daytime or you have a conversation with them, I think you'll be fine. I've been running it for a week and a half and it's been okay. So yeah, but do your own research and speak with your neighbors if you have to. But obviously with the video, I have to kind of speak over the machine to record my voice. So we're gonna get back to it once it's done working. And we are home. So embroidery is done on the main part, and then we gotta put my logo over here. So I'm gonna just take this off. I believe you can just rip this off. Sweet. We'll do the thorough cleanup later. We're gonna load up the other design. Same thing as I showed you all earlier. You just gotta pick it, and then it will load up. All right, we just did the trace, and it looks good. So this one, we're gonna go back to needle number 1 because we don't need that 80-12 for the side. So we're just gonna increase the speed a little bit and we're gonna let it rip. All right, we're done. So let's put the artwork back to the center. I like to do that so that it's easier to remove this from the machine, but we're just gonna hit the 3 clips, twist it, and then we're gonna clean it up now. The fun part, take the clips off. Good work, clips. Unhook, release. We'll put this to the side. And then next, just take a look at our work here. So pretty awesome. We're gonna make sure that everything looks good. So I've been using this thread ripper here to get rid of the excess foam. Anything that is inside the shapes, like O's and S's and V's, especially for Old English. This one was actually so much easier because everything else I've been doing has been super intricate. See all these little foam sticking in? So you wanna like push these in back to their house, and you gotta give it some good force. So I'm gonna bring it back over here because you don't want foam sticking out on your hats. And at first I was a little bit scared of like how hard to push it, but you do need to give it some good force to make sure it goes in. The back is gonna have some thread. Oh, this is actually not too much, but yeah, so basically you wanna trim these threads in the back and then hit it with the lighter. So we'll do that in a second. But I'm also gonna just rip this off so this is out of the way. But yeah, this is that stabilizer, so we can throw this away. And then this one, this is the water soluble stabilizer. So you wanna try and rip it as close to the embroidery as you can. And then you kinda get a little bit of residue like this, but I'm gonna grab some water later and just kinda like rub over it and it goes away. So quite magical, but you can kinda see here that it allowed the embroidery to sit on the surface of the mesh versus being inside the mesh. Maybe you can get a different view once I get rid of that clear coating, but that's essentially why we use that water-soluble stabilizer. So this already looks pretty freaking good. So let's hit it with the heat gun and we'll see if it makes it look that much better. They said you don't want to kill it with the heat, so I have it on low. And also if the heat's too hot, it's going to deform the hat, so just be careful. They also say you can burn the threads, but essentially you're allowing the foam to tighten up so that it doesn't seep through. And also it just gets a really crispy look compared to earlier. So, oh man, it's crazy how like night and day it is once you get the foam heated up. Another tip from Romero Threads was this thing called a snag nabbit, and basically it like grabs onto the thread so that if something is like sticking out or it's uneven, you can use this to pull it through, and it is really freaking cool. But sometimes it gets tough because this is a structured hat, so I use this to kind of brace the needle, and then I push it through. Yeah, so it kind of pulls in anything that looks like a flaw. And I know you can't probably tell on the video right now, but just, you know, when your face is super close to it, you can see it. But wow, this looks freaking awesome. So next, let's do the back side. So I got these little scissors with the curves on them so you can get close to the edges. The fun part is when you burn the threads with the lighter, because you can see it shrink and it really cleans up. You know, you don't want it to be messy because it just kind of shows that you don't care about the quality of your work. But you also don't want to spend so much time here that, you know, you spend 20 minutes cleaning. I think my tension is pretty good. I'm not really sure because like every piece has a different tension, so I don't know what that means exactly. So if there's a embroidery genius here, let me know. But yeah, obviously in the eye it's very bobbin heavy, but on the end it looks perfect. On the V it looks pretty good. So not 100% sure why it does that. Still a noobo, but all right. And then now we burn it. I'm just gonna go with the sink real quick and then get rid of the, oh, there goes the lighter. But I'm gonna get rid of this thing right here. So I'll be right back. All right, so I just went to the sink and you can see the clear is gone. And because of the black backing, you don't see any of that white, which is why I was like, I need some black tearaway here. And here it is, 3D embroidery on a Yupong 6506. Yeah, 6506 snapback. Wow, this looks so fucking good. I'm just gonna do a recap real quick now. All right, so here's the hat. Good alignment, good placing, good sizing. So yeah, first things first, like, man, this, I can't believe this machine is in my apartment. I think that's one of my biggest things that I've been still trying to understand, is like just the sheer gravity of being able to do all these things just from your apartment or your house or wherever you are. And it's just really cool to see how far the industry has come, where they do cater towards that smaller business, because before you couldn't do this at your house. Like, I'm sure there are people who are figuring it out, but for someone like me who's been in the business for almost a decade, I didn't think it was really possible. Nor was I really interested in learning about how to actually do it, because I outsourced everything. But when I started my own business 3 years ago, well, I guess 2.5 years ago, I brought most of the production in-house because of the cost savings, and also because I already know what I like to make. I already know, for the most part, how things get made. I just never physically did it myself until I got the heat press and the cutter. So embroidery has been always one of those things where I always appreciated the art a lot, but now that I see the digitization files from my digitizer and I see the process of getting it done, I just have such a big respect for like really high quality embroidery, because this is an art for sure. Like, it's not like every file gets made the same, because the digitization is going to dictate how it's going to get made, and then the machine, and then the thread tension, and just knowing the right materials to use and all this. Like, there's just so many factors. So this has been really cool for the first couple of weeks, and I hope to already roll this out to some of my clients. And I also hope to just start selling hats on my site, where I just pop it in and make it myself now. So yeah, it's been really cool to have this machine. And that is all for today with the embroidery project. If y'all want to see more embroidery stuff, let me know in the comments below. If you want me to go back to heat pressing and cutting, let me know in the comments as well. If you want to support my channel, obviously all the links are in the description box for my web store, my design assets. If you want to buy the machine, you can buy the machine. And if you just want to talk to a rep to see what your options are, you can also do that too through the link. Like, no, you don't have to click on the link and buy it, right? You can just go and talk to people. So weigh out your options, see what's good, And I hope you all have an amazing day, and I'll catch you all next time.